Welcome to BitBoy Crypto. The best way is if you became a millionaire, would you keep working? You know? I want to tell you guys something. What's going on right now is California's trying to. So, my name is Ben. Welcome to BitBoy Crypto. I need to tighten this. I don't know what I'm going to do here. This is no good. My mic is moving. Is that the way it's supposed to be? Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, the people's channel, the voice. Of course, no other community out there in the interwebs is larger or greater than the BitSquad. And guys, today we got a very special show for you guys because nobody keeps you in the know about crypto, whether I'm home or whether I'm out here in Las Vegas, than BitBoy Crypto. My name is Ben. We come to you live every single day at 8:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't want to hear a word about me being late. I don't want to hear one word about it because I'm actually 3 hours early today. So we're coming to you live from Las Vegas. I'm here at Money 2020, teamed up with my guys here at Sin City Crypto, which people said that you guys pay me to like you. I don't know if that's true or not.
You know,
I'm still waiting on the check, bro.
I quelled those rumors, and I didn't want to come out live and say this, but we did accept a one-handed sidearm hug from Ben. So
that's right. That's right. No jacket on. I made sure it was T-shirt to T-shirt.
Yes,
because I didn't want you to, feel.
We felt the love. Let's just leave it at
that. Is that a blueberry jacket?
Yes, this is blueberry, and it comes from the UK. From UK, a lot of people don't know that. I got here and realized that I actually needed a jacket. It's cold here at night.
You came and you brought the cold.
Yeah, I did.
Literally the same day.
I could go. God, I look like a boxer now.
The shades,
ready to come to the ring. Speaking of fighting, speaking of coming to the ring, we're going to be talking about Sam Bankman-Fried today. We're going to be talking about all the stuff going on with the FTX drama, with some exploit stuff going on. We're going to talk about SBF walking stuff back. Of course, I'm not supposed to be able to see it because he still keeps me blocked. But it is what it is. Obviously, last week was a very big week on the channel. And hopefully we're going to be having our bill go public this week. I texted my guy today to find out what the timeline is for that. So you guys are going to find out. But guys, crypto is doing something it's never done before. It's not doing anything. I
was like, I missed something?
Yeah, so what's funny is that just, I think it was yesterday or a couple days ago, I can't remember when it was, I was talking about how now I don't even check the Bitcoin price. I just assume it's at 19,200. And so I saw Twitter going crazy yesterday. There's like, it's pumping. It's about to, Ethereum's up. It's about to break this, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh man, we must be over 20. Well, 19.5 it was at. Is it not so boring? We're going to be talking today about a big move coming for Bitcoin and whether or not it's going to be the upside or the downside. So, well, first of all, I am on Sin City. I'm in their studio. Me and my wife came out here, when did we come out here? In July? And came and checked out your studio out here. Love what these guys are doing. So they're very thankful they allowed me to run my show from the road here at their studio. So tell everybody a little bit about yourselves, guys.
Go ahead, Rob.
All right, if you haven't figured it out, we're based out of Las Vegas. Me and David, longtime friends. We've been the community.
Wait, we're friends?
Sometimes. We've been the community go-to crypto experts, and then we figured why not start a channel because people kept bugging us for info. So we created a studio out here, and we're just trying to make the best entertainment focused. You know what? Everybody always says that. They're trying to do entertainment. Everyone's saying it, but a lot of people fall short, drop the ball. So we like to play club music in here. We got air horn sounds. We like to party, and so we celebrate milestones. We keep it lighthearted, make fun of each other. That's kind of our dynamic. We argue all the time.
Someone did say you look like you should be on SNL. So it's a good tie-in right there.
Yeah, this is actually Saturday Night Live, guys, but it's Monday. What a coincidence.
Saturday somewhere.
So my wife and I came back out here. We came out here a long time ago, and we went to a restaurant, a very famous restaurant. I don't know, can I say the restaurant?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hell's Kitchen. And it was kind of weird. Like, I go into Hell's Kitchen, never been there before, and there's this guy in there who's like acting a little weird. You know, he works there, and he's like, hey, can I take a picture with you? You know, I love your channel, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, sure. You know, he's like, oh, here's my Instagram. You can talk to me. It'd be cool. I was like, yeah, you know, that's awesome. Sure, sure. Of course, you know, I never messaged him. It was you.
There you go.
It was literally you.
What?
So it was awesome. They work over here at Hell's Kitchen. They do a great job. So that's how we initially met. And then when I found out that it was you guys doing this channel, I connected those dots. I was very happy because my wife was very mad for not sending you an Instagram DM. She said you were very nice.
Mm.
That's the first time anyone said that about Robin.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, you know, if the crypto markets fail, you know, I can always fall back to, you know, I used to be a chef for Ramsey, so you know, more on a personal level. So yeah, I can always feed myself, even if my bank account empties out.
Yeah, there you go.
That's right. I don't know how you'll make that beef Wellington. It might be like beef sub-Parrington or something. I don't know, but
He'll overcook it.
Okay, guys, so we don't have a regular rundown today, as you guys can see. We're going to do the show a little bit differently today. Obviously, so we're going to do a little more of what they do. We're going to chat about a lot of these stories. There's a lot of stuff going on. But first, I do want to make sure that we are going over the coin market cap. Watch this. Did that happen? Why did that not happen?
Rocco, pull up his laptop.
Bam.
There.
Rocco,
And then
Rocco will
this.
take care of it for you. It's already done.
Am I on the screen too?
You're good.
On the square in the corner?
CMC now.
Yeah.
Oh, I am. There we go.
We got a
Let's go.
producer. He'll do it for you. Don't
Let's
worry.
go. Guys, we're going more professional. We left the comfort of our studio for a more professional studio here. So let's go ahead and talk about what's going on in CoinMarketCap right now. As you guys can see right now, we got all these stupid freaking like dynamic things to update on CoinMarketCap now that are so annoying. We've got 21,482 cryptos. We've got 518 exchanges. We got a 927 billy market cap. We got the volume at 60 billy. Volume up a little bit, but look at this. Bitcoin dominance down to 39.8%. Once again showing, even though a lot of the bros out there, they're very adamant that we're going to get this Bitcoin spike of dominance and all coins are going to get crushed and blah, blah, blah. It can't get above 40% and hold. That's big, big news for this entire bear market. We got ETH dominance at 17.6%, and even though you can't see it over here, it's going to cost you 23.5 Paraguays to send an ETH transaction. We got Aptos trending right now. Aptos with a major dump last week when it debuted. A lot of people not happy with the way that it went out. Now, I have zero investment in Aptos. I do have interest in Aptos. So I do think Aptos will come back and it will be a at least medium-sized player in the Layer 1 protocols in the next cycle, but it may have a lot more downside to go. A lot of people would point to FTX. Once again, if you look at what they do, how many of you guys enjoyed the ICP and Ronin token for Maxi Infinity video we did, where we exposed what FTX was doing to pump up perpetual futures before they launched the coin on the side and then short it all the way down. Very interesting stuff. People are saying they did the same thing with Aptos. Don't have all the details on that yet, but they are, I think, the #1 investor in Aptos as well. So very interesting. So looking at the Bitcoin price, we got coming in $19,280. Last night, people were saying that Ethereum was pumping. It was still in the 1300s, is what it is. And the market cap is very interesting, guys, because the market cap of Bitcoin's right at 370 billion. The market cap of Ethereum is 163 billion. I just like to point out to you guys all the time how much closer percentage-wise Ethereum is to Bitcoin. It's about 30-ish% right now, 32, 33%. That's just an estimate. But look at BNB down here. The first non-stable coin under Ethereum, it's at 43 billion. It's under 25% of the market cap of Ethereum. So just remember, guys, Ethereum's a lot closer to Bitcoin than anything else is to Ethereum. I like to point that out a lot. We have XRP staying about the same. We've got Cardano up a little bit at 35 cents. People are asking me if it's a good time to accumulate Cardano. I definitely believe that it is. There may be a better time. Price may drop a little bit, but there you go. You look at number 10 here at Dogecoin, $7.8 billion. I was explaining the way crypto works to someone who's new to investing, somebody I know in real life. And I was explaining the importance of these market caps, and I pulled it up, and I was shocked how low a lot of these market caps are. You just remember them being so high in the billions or 9 figures or 10 figures or 11 figures, and now so many of these are down to in some cases, what they were in the bear market. So what do you guys think about the market right now? What's your overall sense? I know you got some TA for us in just a second, but just what's your general thoughts on where the market is right now?
Boring.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been in the same spot for the last since August 20th, I think it was. Yeah. And so, we've been at 20,000, barely breaking over the 20,000 mark, but twice, and then we flipped 20K as resistance. Yeah. And anyways, it's been long, boring. It's just been consolidation. I do think that as you trade sideways for a longer period of time, you're going to get more of an explosive breakout when it does happen. Yeah. And I think it might be shaping up for this November 2nd Fed funds meeting. And so if we get the 0.75 or perhaps the doom and gloom full 1%. Which is unlikely, but possible.
Very unlikely, I think.
But if they were to drop something like that, then who knows?
You guys think a pivot's coming? You think we'll see one more hike and then a pivot, or at least a pause?
Well, it's one of these things where okay, so I'm a sports guy. People know that, right? You can tell by my Blueberry I'm wearing.
You're a Saints fan, right? Don't walk out of the studio.
No, not a Saints fan. Well, it's one of these things where they're so bad right now, it's hard to even say you don't like them. Even the Falcons are better than the Saints now. That's really sad. But look, if you pick a Super Bowl team, let's say at the beginning of the year, I went with, let's say I'm going with the Bills and I don't know. At the beginning of the season, I probably would have said Packers or Buccaneers, or maybe the Eagles now, But let's say that I said the Buccaneers and the Bills. Well, when we get to the playoffs, the Bills may be struggling. Maybe they don't even win their division. And let's say they go in. And the Buccaneers, let's say they sneak into the playoffs too. Well, should I change my Super Bowl prediction because, I have new information? Or is the fact that I even have two teams in the playoffs that I said would make the Super Bowl, shouldn't I stick with that prediction? That's what we're seeing here. All year I predicted last rate raise in November. I've done it since December of last year. December was going to be the pivot month. Why would I change now? Yes, it may not happen, but you got to admit that right now it looks way more likely that's where we're going to get than let's say even a month ago.
That's true. Well, and just real quick, what are your thoughts on the UN coming out and asking the Fed and all the kind of central banks around the world to stop hiking interest rates, that it's going to crash the global economy? You think that has anything to do with maybe the pivot in December?
Yeah, for sure. You have Kathy Wood sending Jerome Powell, a letter saying stop. When you're looking at the UN, telling the Fed, please stop raising rates. You're having people across the board call for this. So this, once again, goes to back up my reasoning why I believe we will get one more rate raise. I think it'd be 0.5. It may not even be 0.75 or definitely won't be 0.1 in my opinion. But here's the situation that the Fed is in. First of all, keep in mind, Jerome Powell created this problem of inflation, and now he gets to solve it. So it's a win-win for him. He's probably going to win a Nobel Prize, right? It's so ridiculous. Ben Bernanke did, unbelievable. He created quantitative easing. Nobel Prize for finance. Unbelievable. So when you're looking at Jerome Powell saying that inflation is transitory last year, he knew better. He was lying. He knew this was going to have an impact, but everything is political framing when it comes to, the world of political points and the federal government. So what is happening now is he's in a situation where it's a win-win for him. No matter what, he's going to fix it. He's going to solve it. He gets credit for it. He's also in a spot now where he can raise rates for one more month. He can put pressure on the world economy. He can flex American muscle. He can show that we're still the top dog when it comes to economics, and what we decide determines what everybody else does. He can still do that, push this message of being tough, and then in December, cave, backtrack on that. He's already raised it once, look powerful. Now we have the ability to show that now not only are we powerful, but we're benevolent. And so we understand what is going on in the world. We understand the high, electricity costs around the world. And so we're going to ease off. Once again, America gets to play the hero. Jerome Powell gets to play the hero. And it's ultimately going to be good for our bags that happens. But the whole thing is that what we're seeing right now is pressure on the rest of the world because of their fiat currency inflation going out of control. We're seeing a lot of political turmoil. Look at the stuff going on in the UK where the PM stepped down and things like that. But what's going to happen is these rate raises, they're going to start having a compound effect on the world economy so that now all of a sudden countries can't buy as much stuff from us as they could a couple months ago. So Jerome Powell is once again in this spot where he gets to be the hero, where it's going to hurt us to keep raising. If you flex too much, that's going to hurt you, especially when it comes to the rapid raise that we've seen here. So that's what I tend to think is going to happen. I think November 1st, we get a raise. We have the midterm elections. We get the bottom after that for Bitcoin. December, Jerome Powell backs off. They pause. Some people are saying they expect him to resume in February. That's not going to happen. They're not going to resume this. The only way it's going to resume is inflation swings back the other way, which is not going to do because they're not doing quantitative easing right now. And so I think we're heading to actually a very stable place in the market. People are still going to feel the pain for a while, about another year or so after this. But once they stop those rate raises, barring black swan event, we're going to see the end of the hikes. We're going to see the bottom for Bitcoin, and we're going to see the bottom for the traditional markets. Maybe not the real estate market yet, but definitely when it comes to the stock market, I think we'll see all that. This is the stability play to get things headed in the right direction and start giving people a little more confidence. So,
do you think this was a long con? Do you think that they kind of had this idea like, hey, we're gonna print tons of money. We're gonna quadruple the money supply, basically, and then we're gonna come in as the hero and solve our own problem and then pat ourselves on the back.
Okay,
you think this is like all been in the works the whole time?
So I think you can go back to 2020 and you can see where Jerome Powell started talking about CBDCs, a digital dollar, and started talking about, hey, we could use the private sector to do this for us. They've already got CBDCs, basically. USDC, if you watch the channel, you know we believe CBDC or USDC will be behind, Circle's behind it, Coinbase is behind it, Goldman Sachs. It will be the CBDC, the digital dollar. We do believe that here on this channel. We'll see how it all plays out. We're going to do a video on it soon. But what you see is the only way to dump the fiat system or to kick the fiat system down the road, kick the can down the road with it, is to create not new supply, create new demand. So you create the CBDC, you increase the demand. Now all of a sudden you have a digital fiat system where it's borderless, and you got people all around the world that want to buy it and can buy it. I kind of think this was the plan. Like, it makes no sense they would print money to oblivion that quickly to catch us, basically speed up inflation and speed up the collapse of fiat 12 years unless you had a plan on the back end. So I do think that. I think there is something to all this. I'm not saying they rose the money supply in order to do this. I think they looked and they said, well, it makes sense for us to print money out of control right now to make people happy and give people money with government handouts for the pandemic. Also, we can use this. We can use this to get the CBDC, going down the road and to be able to inflate the global demand for the U.S. dollar. Look, fiat system collapses 100%. There's no question whether it does or not. It's only a matter of when. The government, I'm telling you guys, they're way smarter than you think they are. They are doing what they're doing methodically. They don't just print money and don't, inflation is not transitory. They know better than that. So you got to look at the role where, we're playing in that.
I agree. And you know what kind of worries me a little bit? And you brought up the point of they're not doing QE. Well, Janet Yellen came out, and if you're not familiar, she's the Treasury Secretary of the U.S. Treasury.
Great.
She came out and said they are worried about liquidity in the bond market. And so what did the Fed come out and say? If we need to, we will buy Treasury bonds. So if that happens,
you're literally printing money.
Like what then? Like, what are we going to see moving forward?
I think it's likely that we start printing money in the form of buying bonds and corporate debt, quantitative easing, and also not reversing the federal funds rate. So I think they can win both narratives. Like, hey, we're not increasing the interest rate anymore, but yet they're going to be backdooring just printing money. And so that way, for the optics of CNN and mainstream media, hey, they stopped raising interest rates, but then on the monetary policy side, they're going to be just straight injecting tons of capital into the system. So I think that's
they're not going to have a choice.
Likely.
If the bond market fails, that literally the U.S. government will go bankrupt.
Well, the bond market is the most important driver of the world economy, and a lot of people don't know that or don't understand it. Look, I'm here and act like I'm an expert on bonds myself. I hear not quite my age demo, a little bit older than me, people that said this, but I hear Sean Connery was great. Pierce Brosnan, he looked the part, right? But was he really cool? Like, I don't know. Then you go as far as what's the last guy's name? Craig. Wasn't it Craig? It's Craig, I think, right?
Yeah, Craig.
Obviously, huge impact on bonds because I can't even remember the guy's name. But I did like that he was, he had the muscle part down. So
the big dude.
We could talk bonds all day, guys, if you wanted to. Sounds boring to me at this point.
What about Barry Bonds?
Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. Let them use steroids. I don't understand what the big deal is. Let them use steroids. It's not like you use steroids and then you hit home runs the next moment. There's a process there, and why do we not want our athletes to use the latest and greatest? Look, we let them go to GNC and use supplements. Hey, people will tell you this all the time. You got all these supplements out there trying to be steroids without being steroids. Guys, what is worse for you, Coke or Diet Coke? Everybody would tell you Diet Coke. That's the general thought, right? Because it's trying to mimic sugar in Coke, but it's not. So I don't know. Maybe the world of supplements is a lot more dangerous than you think. Maybe you should just let them eat cake. Just saying. Wasn't baseball a lot more fun when they were hitting those home runs?
Baseball was never fun.
You said never fun?
Yeah, I'm not a baseball guy.
Aaron Judge hitting 62 home runs this year. That was pretty cool. I'm sure he's not on steroids. No, because nobody in baseball uses steroids.
Ever.
Yeah. Okay, let's actually, you've got some TA for us. Let's go ahead and check out some charts here.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So first thing I want to take a look at is Bitcoin. So I got Bitcoin pulled up on the weekly chart here. And I like to keep TA pretty simple. What I have here on is the Bollinger Bands. And anytime you see these bands start to constrict, like we're seeing here, there typically is a big move to follow. And what I have plotted right next to the Bitcoin price is the Bitcoin Volatility Index. It's not at all-time lows, but it's at the lowest it's been in quite a while. We're talking the lowest since July of 2020. It dipped this low, and then we know what happened after the pandemic rally, shot all the way back up to 61,000. But the question is, which way is it going to break? And so I stepped down to a lower time frame, the 4-hour. And so what I have plotted on here is called the Ichimoku cloud. It's a Japanese charting technique that really helps with figuring out which direction and where the market's going. And so it's 5 moving averages. So this is pretty bullish right now. We came out of the cloud, came back down. We retested the cloud here, which is going to act as support. We have a green cloud moving in 26 days into the future, which is bullish. Also, the lagging indicator, which looks back 26 days, that is currently above price, which is also bullish. And on the stochastics, we're kind of in the middle. So we are at a support level. We did wick all the way down to 19,100 today, but we're back up to around 19,003. I do think we will retest this 20K level, whether we're going to break it or not, and make support on top. That remains to be seen. Moving on to, real quick, before I move on, Ben.
Yeah.
So big move is coming. Do you agree for Bitcoin?
Yeah, I do think so. I think it's probably a little further out than people believe. And look, our definition of a big move and definition of the volatility of Bitcoin right now, like it's obviously changed in the short term. Oh, Kenny's in the chat. I thought we killed him. Dave, y'all open up the club and show Ben those dad moves. Hey, you know who had great moves on the dance floor?
Who?
Jeffrey Dahmer. Okay.
Stop it.
If you saw the show, man, he's got way better moves than me, for sure. Also, if you didn't watch his dance moves and know he was a murderer, I don't know what to tell you. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we are going to get a big move to the downside, but I think it's weeks away. I think we're going to have this bubbling and this building for a little bit here. We're going to see something next week. I don't know what it's going to be. So we've got the midterm elections on the 8th. I've heard there's a lot. The first week of November, there's a lot of things that could potentially happen. Obviously, the week after that, I just think we're looking at a big window here for when we're going to finally get the move. What about you?
I think it depends on what the Fed does November 2nd. If it comes in at 0.75, I think it'll rally. It'll rally to like 22.5. But if they go more than 0.75, or when the FOMC meeting comes out, when the minutes come out, or he does his press conference, and the hawkish tone continues, and he pretty much says we're going to see another 50 or 75 basis point hike in December, I do think we'll stoop down, but I don't think we're going to. I believe the bottom is in for Bitcoin.
You do?
I do.
Oh, wow.
I believe the bottom is in. We saw massive amounts of options expiring Friday, and the price was on its way down. And there's an article, we'll talk about this in a few minutes here, but the retail investors, we're kind of getting a nice balance here with the whales. So when the whales try to dump, retail comes right in and kind of steadies the price. And I think that's part of the reason why we haven't seen Bitcoin move.
I don't share the same sentiment as my co-host here. I do think that we are going to be testing a lower Bitcoin price. As far as how low, I don't think it would be anything drastic, but 15,000 I think is probably a range I would expect to see it. I do think we're lining up for that bear market bounce, basically, where people believe, hey, the bear market's back, the bottom was in. You're gonna get a lot of people that are gonna be entering in the market thinking that it's gonna be all green skies from here. And
here's the beauty of crypto, and if you're invested in crypto, not just with money but mentally as well, is whether Ben's right, great, the price goes down, you buy more. If I'm right, the bottom's in, great, our portfolios start to grow.
And not to mention just a great time to buy anyways. I mean, if you're in the market right now, I mean, if you're scooping up even Bitcoin as an example, you're picking that up right now at 19,000 versus say maybe perhaps 16,000.
Yeah.
When you're forecasting,
good versus best.
Yeah, when you look forward and you see Bitcoin up in the six figures, you're not going to be kicking yourself in the butt for not buying it $3,000 cheaper. So
yeah, well, I talked to a guy last night who recognized me in the Venetian where the conference is, and he came up to me. He's like, "Bro, man, it's awesome to meet you, man. You're like, I love your channel. It's so great. Like, man, I tell you what though, I bought $200,000 worth of Bitcoin at 65,000. What do I do?" Chill, bro. Just chill. Like here, if you're in a situation where you're upside down by a considerable amount, you're going to have to separate your investments. You're going to have to say, this is money that I put into it, and I'm not going to touch it until it goes back up and I'm in the green. In the meantime, dollar cost average what you can afford. Like, look, he had 200,000. I don't know where he got the money from. I mean, I don't think the guy's a mega millionaire or anything like that. So, obviously he probably can't do that again, but you know what he could do? He could put in $100 a week. He put in $100 a day, maybe, depending on where he has financially. $50. I do $50 a day in Cardano or ADA, and then $100 a day in Ethereum. That's just what I've been doing for about a month and a half now. And every day the transaction doesn't go through. I don't know what causes it to get declined some days, but most days it goes through.
Are you buying? Are you doing your buys on FTX?
I'm bearish on FTX. I don't know if y'all can tell. I ain't changing my mind on that just because SBF blocked me, been talking about me and giving me a lot of coverage.
A lot of coverage.
I'm not a fan of FTX, as you can tell. So no, I'm doing that on crypto.com is where I'm doing that at. So are we going to talk about that? Is that on the list of stuff to talk about at some point?
Yeah. What do we got on? What do we got on the list? What's on the docket?
Yeah. Well, let's
hit some stories.
Yeah. Let's get right into it. Get right into it. All right. So the first thing we're talking about is small Bitcoin investors stop whales from crashing Bitcoin price below 18K. It's kind of what I referenced to earlier. Notably, there's been some on-chain divergence between so-called whales, which are entities that hold more than 1,000 Bitcoin, and fishes, which are entities that hold relatively smaller amounts of Bitcoin. As Bitcoin continues to fluctuate inside the 18 to 20K area, the net Bitcoin supply held by addresses with 100 to 1,000 Bitcoin has increased from 3.71 million in June to 3.77 million in October. The supply of Bitcoin held by addresses with 10 to 100 Bitcoin has also risen from 3 million to 3.15 million in the same period. Now, Ben, are we seeing a narrative shift? Like, is this what we need in crypto, in Bitcoin specifically, is a balance of retail and whale, or do we need to see more of one or the other?
Well, it is encouraging when you do have retail starting to seep back in. Because if you go back to the last bull run and you look at when my channel really blew up in 2020, There are plenty of people today that will tell you that they laugh when people say, "Oh, everybody, you lost money. You watch BitBoy." No. If you're watching this channel in 2019, you crush the market. You crushed it. That's not even a question. There were enough people that came in during that time that retail interest started coming back. They started, the aloe had put on their financial burns. Had started kicking in from 2017. This is what happens. What happens is you get people that come into the market at the peak, they lose their money, and they either stay or they go. Those that go, they'll end up coming back in down the road at the wrong time again. Those who stay, they slowly but surely start to recover some investment money, some disposable income, to start throwing back at the market and things like that. And so that's what this means. When you get the retail addresses going up, it means that already in just a span of a year to a year and a half from both the tops, 1 year from the main top, and then a year and a half about from the sentiment top in May or April, it was around the Coinbase IPO. You're starting to see that some people have already started to recover, and they've already started trickling back in slowly but surely. You have to be careful about a lot of these on-chain analytics, though, because, for instance, when you look at the on-chain analytics about the money flowing in and out of exchanges, which is a big sign of which direction the market's probably going to go, that's been skewed because of the Celsius Voyager debacle, the Three Arrows Capital debacle, where people are now more apt to send their money off exchanges. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to hold it forever. It just means they don't feel comfortable holding on an exchange to wait to trade it. They'd rather have it in cold storage or in a hot wallet. So I think when you're looking at this, you have to also be careful that these numbers can be a little misleading too, because especially when you look in the 100 to 1,000 Bitcoin range and some movement there, I think that's a lot of big wallets trying to diversify their addresses. So it's harder to track exactly what they're doing. They're setting that up for the next bull run. They don't want everybody knowing that, it's Fidelity's got 48 Bitcoin addresses that all have 1,000. Well, once it moves to a lower range of how much Bitcoin's in there, we don't really track it that much.
100%.
Well, the last bull market / bear market cycle, the sentiment was, is Bitcoin going to come back? Is Bitcoin dead? And, we've heard it time and time again, and I feel like that narrative is falling by the wayside now. And I think that people do understand that Bitcoin is here to stay. I mean, politicians agree on it. The CEOs of Fortune 500 companies agree on it. It's not going anywhere. So at this point, it's just, when is liquidity going to come back into the crypto markets, and when is the cycle going to come back? And now the retail that we're seeing, and now I think people understand, like, hey, I can buy this stable asset here at a low cost entry point, and I think that's what we're seeing now. It's not just whale games during the bear market. Now you have the masses of retail getting into Bitcoin because they know it's here to stay. So,
well, I would point back and say this is not the first time we've seen this happen. So when Bitcoin first went into a bear market following a halving cycle, would have been in 2014, after it peaked in November of 2013, which is when I sold 6 Bitcoin for $1,700 and thought I was a genius,
Ouch.
Yeah. So, but the fact is that I definitely thought Bitcoin was dead when the Mt. Gox hack happened. I didn't understand enough about Bitcoin as a technology and as a decentralized network. I thought Mt. Gox and Bitcoin were kind of the same thing. Like, I didn't know that was an exchange and you went through it. Of course, we had BitInstant there back then that sped things up, but 90% of Bitcoin transactions were done on the one exchange. So it's hard for me to separate what was Bitcoin and what was Mt. Gox, not even really understanding what I had put money in, not as an investment, but to use as a currency. And so certainly in the last bear market in 2015, people thought Bitcoin was dead and not coming back. What you see is this incremental gain of total believers on the adoption curve. So each cycle, it's going to get less and less and less about, will Bitcoin survive? Will Ethereum survive? Right now there's a lot of other altcoins that are still in that. I think a lot of people think Ethereum is going to survive at this point. I don't consider it an altcoin any longer. So the whole thing is, when is that effect going to take hold to where people aren't saying these same narratives? I said last year, all year, yes, we thought Bitcoin was going to go higher by the end of the year. But we told you all year, 2022 was going to be the year of a bear market. And people laughed me out of the room. They thought, how ridiculous. too much adoption now. There's too much adoption. It's too mainstream. No. And I said, oh, just wait.
Super cycles.
Wait to see the stories. Wait to see the way the media paints Bitcoin next year. And here we are. So it's going to continue happening. I don't think we're so far away from mainstream adoption with crypto in general. When I was in Dubai, I had a taxi cab driver, and GITEX was the name of the big conference we were at. Future Blockchain Summit was just a small part of that. And the guy picked me up. He's like, "You here for the conference?" I was like, "Yeah, here for the conference." And I'm thinking I'm slick. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, "You ever heard of Bitcoin?" You know what he did? He looked up. He looked up in the rear view mirror. He looked up in the rear view mirror like this.
Kicked you out.
And he looked back at me. He laughed so freaking over the top about it. And no, it was not a laugh of, obviously, I've heard of Bitcoin. I'm in Dubai. It's like, Bitcoin. He laughed uncontrollably. I had to get him to calm down. I tried to follow up with more questions. And every time I did, he just laughed more. So, there you go.
That's crazy. And Dubai is supposed to be like a pretty forward thinking as far as technology and all that stuff. So
did you convince them to subscribe to the channel?
Oh, I didn't tell him I had a channel.
That's probably a good idea.
I did not tell him I had a channel. I did not want this guy laughing in my chat. He might be in here laughing today.
Gary Gensler's in the chat right now.
Yeah, Gary Gensler is always in the chat every single day. You guys know. I mean, SBF, Gary Gensler, Janet Fallon Yellen. Like, this is the crew.
The wolf pack.
A lot of people out there are like, I'm always interested have you ever been in a fist fight?
Yeah, me and Robin just got into one before the show started. Yeah, that's right.
Well, there's this thing now where a lot of boys growing up don't ever get in a fight in their whole life. And so when I find someone, like a man hasn't been in a single fight as an entire life, I'm like, how in the world does that happen? How do we have this place where you've never been in a fight before? Well, have you ever fought Gary Gensler, SBF, the U.S. government, and Janet Fallon Yellen at the same time while fighting for the XRP army and the Cardano community?
Sounds like a movie.
And having to stop the XRP community from destroying Charles? Like, it's a lot, guys. But guess what? Good for you. I like to fight.
Ben's ready. The gloves are on.
Anybody have any qualms about that? I think the last week showed that. Guys, I promise I'm never going to yell again on the channel.
Why? It was fun.
Well, we actually promote fighting here on our show.
Yes.
So we have a versus graphic. Rocco, show them the versus graphic. Mm-hmm. So if you ever want to get an argument with David here, you can throw the gloves on, That's right. And so
I would do it politely. I shy away from controversy.
But I have been in a fight, so just one though.
Yeah,
just one.
Now look, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. If you haven't been in a fight, it's great if you never had to be in a fight. But grew up, we had to scrap a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Had to fight for your place a little bit. Now kids, they do it on Fortnite. So
it's so frowned upon.
It's the metaverse. We're metaversally fighting.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Yep, let's do it. Next story.
So, next story, least volatile October ever. 5 things to know in Bitcoin this week. And as always, the highlights never stay on, so we're going to refresh the screen here.
The screen.
And it's after a welcome attempt to break out, the Bitcoin USD remains bound to a narrow corridor now in place for weeks. Some of the lowest volatility in history means that Bitcoin has found a temporary function as a stable coin. Even some major fiat currencies are currently more volatile. Are we seeing a narrative shift of Bitcoin as far as, okay, maybe it is digital gold, maybe it is a store of value, maybe it's not so volatile? What are your thoughts, Ben?
Yeah, first I do want to say, if you think I'm not going to yell, guys, that's a lie. I will certainly yell. And I don't care if I turn to an Alex Jones meme, if it gets the right message out there, that's real information that's going on out there. How great is it that I got to share this message with everything going on with SBF so many times, all because I yelled. And everybody who heard that got a little bit of that stream that day. So you know what? Right. If I got to turn into a meme to get the message out and to stop him from ruining crypto, which we seem to have been making some positive moves here in the last week, then that's what I'll do.
I feel like it's a small price to pay.
Very small price to pay, especially for him. He's a billionaire. So here's the thing, guys, about this October thing, the volatility, things like this. It's just that, guys, stop saying October. Stop looking at a month, a calendar month, and saying, this is what we should see this month. Guys, What's relevant is what Bitcoin did in that month 4 years ago, as long as the halvings stay remotely around the same time. I can look back, and we had conversations about this with my research team, like, if you want to compare where we are at right now in October of 2022, go look at November of 2018. That's what you need to look at. Don't go back and look at November of 2018, or at October of 2018. No. Go look at November, because that's where we're at in the cycle. We're getting nearish a bottom. The volume has been dropping. Look at the volume drops. You can see across the board. So it's a really strong indicator, in my opinion, of the fact that the 4-year cycle pattern, the way that the prices react to that pattern, are remaining the same. Obviously, the 4-year cycle is the same. The 4-year cycle doesn't ever change. It's a Bitcoin halving every 4 years. The effects of that may change down the road. Now, is Bitcoin gold? Is Bitcoin, a currency? It's definitely digital gold. The only people hanging on to the currency narrative are, people that desperate. And look, why? Like a lot of Bitcoin maximalists, why are they so desperate for that narrative to remain? Because number one, they believe in the sincerity and purity of the message of Satoshi Nakamoto, or some people call him Satoshi. The fact is that that's part of it. But they're so freaking frustrated with the fiat system, and it doesn't work, and the fact that it's not open, not a private system. It's basically all based on false narratives of pumping up price and money printing, and inflation is transitory. They're so frustrated with that they just want this to work because it's a better system. However, we're a long ways away. The actual argument for Bitcoin being a world currency is stronger as digital gold, the same way that gold-backed currency, and it was a better system. I think we're going to see Bitcoin-backed currency in the future in 50 years.
We've also seen more volatility in the S&P 500 than we have in Bitcoin in the last 2 months. And so that whole narrative that, hey, there's too much volatility in crypto, I think this is an insight on what crypto could look like in the future, where, Bitcoin is more of a stable asset than, say, the world markets.
Especially the dollar.
Hey, guys, real quick, make sure, if you love it when I wear Blueberry on the show, if you love it when we come to you live from Las Vegas, this is a model I think I want to do more of, which is when I'm out of town, find a place someone we can work with to have a studio so I can still do the show. I don't mind doing the show. It's just hard logistically to do it while I'm gone. If you like our commitment to being here every single day, make sure to smash that like button. Unlike the Hulk, people like me when I'm angry. Hit the like button.
Yeah, we try
doesn't turn green.
We try to bring as many. We want to be the go-to destination for anyone crypto when they come to Vegas, particularly content creators, but just anyone in the space. So we always keep an open door. So we had Lifer in here last week. We had Mind Your Biz in here taking his shirt off.
He's
was it like last
I had a great
month?
talk with him last night. I love that.
He is so smart, man.
He is. He's
smart
very
dude.
smart. He's too smart almost.
He's almost.
People are saying that something about this is not Blueberry that I'm wearing.
It's a
What?
What do you?
Is it raspberry?
No, clearly Blueberry.
It's a scratch and sniff. All right, let's move on.
All right.
So next piece of news we're talking about, the Bitcoin hash price is at all-time lows amidst dismal miner profitability. The high hash rate and high difficulty figures have proved to be increasingly painful for Bitcoin miners. The miners are currently earning the smallest reward relative to hash power applied in history, which has put the industry under extreme income stress. The new all-time low in hash price, not hash rate, hash price, comes as Bitcoin's mining difficulty reached a lifetime high of 36.84 trillion after another increase of 3.44%. They are now facing, and I'm talking about the miners, more pressure to spend additional resources to execute the same amount of work. In the short term, I'm worried. I'm worried about
what is hash price, by the way? What is that?
How much the profitability of mining 1 Bitcoin per the hash rate.
So yeah, the correlation between the hash rate plus the price. At some point, that something's going to break, right? I mean, if the price of Bitcoin stays where it is and the hash rate keeps going higher and higher,
it's the difficulty that worries me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean.
Are you worried, Ben?
Not at all. It doesn't worry me a lick. It's good. It's how the competition remains during the bear market.
So let me push back a little bit. So you don't think
back it up. Where are we opening the club, by the way? Everybody's asking.
Once your channel gets to 10,000 viewers.
What's the viewers at right now, Rocco? We'll set a. Oh yeah, we don't have our normal. We don't have our normal analytics.
We're
yeah.
flying. We're flying.
We're flying.
All right, push. Hey, back it up on me. Let's go.
You want to open up the club?
You want to open up the club?
You want to open up the club?
open up the club.
You want to open up the club?
You wanna open up the club?
All right. So here's something. Here in Cincinnati
what club
Crypto,
is?
what we do is we like to celebrate new milestones. We're going to celebrate just having been in the studio.
That's right.
And what does Vegas do best here? Well, not only do we have a badass live cryptocurrency TV show airing Monday through Friday, but we also got badass nightclubs, and we also have terrible dance moves. And so, without further ado,
Jeffrey
Rocco,
Dahmer in the house.
let's go. Open up the club.
Open up the club, baby. Oh, let's go.
Shoot the dice.
Oh, let's go. Man, now I want to fight now. Where's SBF? You want to come at me? Let's go. People say he'd tear me up. That's what they'd say. Well, I'll hair him up. Wow. Now, I'm in my blueberry. Woo! Yeah, rocking the blueberry in the club.
We also do very good coffee in Las Vegas as well, apparently.
People said this is... It's like most berries grow in the summer when it's hot, right?
Yes.
They're calling this burberry. I don't. Is that like a new kind of berry that
no,
grows in the winter?
Because it's cold. It's cold in Vegas. That's why.
Yeah. Well,
Well, listen.
looks pretty hot to me.
Listen, I want to push back on the difficulty
let's do
narrative
it.
here. So you're telling me you're not worried that it gets harder to mine a block of Bitcoin. The price is down. Energy prices are up. That doesn't worry you that some of these miners are going to have to completely unplug.
Oh,
financing.
They're going to go. There's going to be some failures.
Financing is getting more expensive because interest rates are higher, so then I can't leverage their debt to buy more ASICs. Like, that's not concerning to you, Ben? You don't think some of these smaller miners are going to have to unplug and the network is going to become more centralized?
I don't care how small they are. I mean, SBS is pretty small, I think. I mean, there's plenty of miners out there that are big. You know, they even look like adults. Look, here's the thing. I'm not worried a single lick. Why? Because the Bitcoin network is a self-regulating network. So what this means is, as your hash rate and the difficulty goes up, the profitability goes down. What would you start to see? You would start to see the hash rate go down as a result of that. Well, as the hash rate drops, guess what that means? That means all of a sudden the difficulty can scale back. Difficulty doesn't just go one way. Difficulty doesn't only get harder when there's less miners and less competition. It goes back the other way too. It's self-correcting. So there will always be opportunities in the network for people to still be able to jump on. It's probably good for Bitcoin, over the long term, over this next cycle, to see a lot of miners have to shut it off, to see it go down to, $12,000, $13,000. They say $12,000 is the Mendoza line for this, where miners will be unprofitable, basically, if it goes under 12. They're not all going to shut down. And everybody's not going to shut down if it's not profitable. It'll probably be a temporary thing. Some people who can't afford to keep doing it will stop temporarily. And then that opens up new competition in Bitcoin mining. You're always going to have opportunity. Here's what's so great about it. Michael Saylor talks about, owning your piece of digital real estate, owning your coin on the network. It's your way to stake your claim. It opens up the ability for new miners to come into the system, because when the competition is so high and the hash rate is up and the difficulty is up and the price is up, there's no room for entry, pretty much, outside of a hobbyist. It's great. I don't ever have any problems about that. People really, really over exaggerate the importance of, the monthly move for miners, whatever it's going on, whether it's hash rate going up or whether it's, the difficulty going up or people shutting off their miners. Now, just look at the long term. Look over the year and the 4-year cycle and see how it all works. It always works the same way. It always self-corrects. There's no problem with miners shutting down. Guys, there's people out there that have free power. They ain't shutting down. Somebody paying for it, I guess. But so that's my thoughts on it. I'm not worried at all about I'm more worried about the supply shock that occurs after the halving, for the miners having to sell equipment or stay profitable. That's what, guys, Bitcoin mining, number one, the biggest holders of Bitcoin out there are early miners. Number two, guys, when things start exploding and price starts going up, why do you think that is? Is it because people just love Bitcoin? No, it's the miners driving the price, guys. It's the miners and the ability for people to make money profitably with it. And the supply shock, that's built into the code of Bitcoin, supply and demand. That's what makes the price go up every 4 years.
And I think that's why people say we don't get a Bitcoin bottom until the miners capitulate. So
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Next piece of news. Only 5 countries control 30% of all reachable Bitcoin nodes globally. As much as 30.3% of the world's reachable Bitcoin nodes are located in 5 countries: the U.S., Germany, France, Netherlands, and Canada. The U.S. is the leader among these countries with 1,844 or 13.2% of reachable nodes, followed by Germany with 9.8% and France with 3.1%. And then just one thing I have highlighted here, as opposed to unreachable node, a reachable node refers to a device or software running the Bitcoin protocol and securing the network, which can be connected to directly, that has not yet reached its maximum number of allowed connections, or that is currently not in the process of syncing up to the latest blocks. I don't have a specific question or narrative here, Ben, if you just kind of want to share your overall thoughts on this.
Well, if you had a question, I probably could say that I knowed it.
I didn't know you were a comedian.
Yes, you did. Somebody said I look pale in the chat. It's just a different light, guys. It's a different light. I'm just as vibrant as always. But what I would tell you
I can give you
is,
a little yellow if you want. Yeah.
What's that?
I can give you a little yellow here.
Yeah, give me some yellow. It made me look tan. Put a spray tan on me. Yeah, I like that. Guys, here's the thing. Nodes for Bitcoin. There's about 10,000 nodes on the network that are public. That's the number, about 10,000. There's way more than that use VPNs and we don't even necessarily know. So I don't know how that relates, of course, to the statistics that you were giving us here. But one thing is for sure, if 30% of the nodes are ran in a collection of 5 countries, then I don't know, like, what do we got to do to get that to 50% so Gary can call it a security? You know, that's what 50% of the nodes of Ethereum run in America or have run in America. Therefore, everything's a security. Shut up, Gary. I want to pimp slap Gary. I really do. I want to pimp slap Gary.
Well, it's interesting you brought that up because, you know...
Pimp slapping Gary?
Yeah, pimp slapping Gary. But, no, you know, Gary did say the nodes running for the Ethereum network were based... Majority were based here in the U.S. And, you know, this
Therefore,
also...
it's under U.S. jurisdiction.
Yeah, this also is the exact same, you know, what was it, 14 or 11% in the U.S.? Anyways, majority of it, again, here in the U.S. You know, is that fuel or ammunition for the SEC? Because just when you think that the SEC hasn't overreached and all of a sudden created a new way of regulating with some rules they just poofed out of thin air, you know, is this something that we can be concerned about? I don't know, maybe.
Well, I think what you got to look at is you got to look at the fact that we look at the Boozman bill, right? This is where our legislation is supposed to slide inside of. That's what SBF is trying to slide his, right? Which is so funny to me that like SBF can't understand the difference between, common sense bill that goes into effect. It's, you know, everybody in crypto kind of likes, they push, and one man's opinion being what determines the entire space. That's what SBF wants. So, you know, it has a lot to do with regulations. While we're really in a war right here, guys. We are in a very important phase of crypto regulation, and it's very important. Hopefully, we'll be able to talk about our bill later this week. We're super excited about that. People understand we're creating a mechanism. He's trying to create. He's trying to make the rules. I don't want to make any rules in crypto. I don't make any rules. I just want to enable the people that should be making the rules to make the rules, people we trust and have a seat at the table. So the whole idea here is that, you know, when it comes to the Boozman bill, it's an FU to Gary Gensler. That's what the entire thing is. Why? It immediately considers Bitcoin, and this is a model where hopefully we're going to see more in the future of. People get some hints here, is that they're going to say Bitcoin, Ethereum, definitely not a security, a commodity. Now Gary Gensler cannot touch it. That is a direct message to Gary Gensler about what this space is going to look like in the future. So when did the Boozman bill come out initially? You know, kind of around the time that he first started floating. Well, maybe Ethereum is a security. You know, maybe William Himmel was right. Or, you know, before he got bribed. So, you know, that's kind of what I see happening. I think, you know, that Ripple case is extremely important where it plays into all this, obviously. And, you know, it's fun. Man, I tell you, the Bitcoin price has been so flipping boring, but crypto has been so interesting during this last several weeks.
Especially for you. You know what I'm saying?
I try to shy away from controversy.
Man, there was no end of interesting tweet songs on.
Somebody needs to make a new one. So I keep trending, guys. Come on.
There you go. There you go. Let's get Ben to 1 million on Twitter. All right, let's move on. This is interesting. The Wintermute CEO argues crypto Twitter, quote, doesn't matter as much as U.S. regulators and politicians in response to the Sam Bankman-Fried discourse. CEO of Wintermute, Yevgeny Gavoy, took to Twitter on October 23rd to add commentary to the discourse around FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried and his intentions within the crypto industry. Gavoy went on to say that U.S. regulators and politicians, as well as broader user base, matter way more in an apparent attempt to hit back against the argument that SBF is, quote, entering some kind of villain arc, a concept Gavoy said he found silly. We do have, now, OFAC sanctions have been at the heart of the censorship debate on the Ethereum blockchain recently, and SBF support, quote, triggered crypto investor and CEO of Shapeshift, Eric Voorhees. Voorhees vehemently disagreed with SBF's comments, stating that his view on sanctions was, quote, the road to tyranny, ubiquitous surveillance, and the worst dystopian Orwellian financial system that could be dreamed up.
Yeah, we were reading over the Sam Bankman-Fried bill. What was it called? The
DCCP.
No, well, the DCAP, I think, is technically that is the Boozman bill. It's
is that the Boozman?
It's his influence on the language going into the bill in general is what I'm so concerned about, and other people are concerned about, especially because I understand his tactics and what he's doing on the back end.
Some of the language in that bill had about sanctions, where they would basically comply with sanctions.
Yeah, let's love it.
No, a little concerning there.
Yeah, you gonna say something?
No,
I heard you click.
No, you're good.
Guys, here is the fact. The fact is that when you have one man trying to shape regulation the way that he wants it, and I hope people will see with what we're doing, like I said, I'm not making rules. We're trying to create a mechanism where the rules get made through instead of one man just being able to pay billions of dollars to congressmen and senators and be able to make his own bill. So what we're seeing is that with the censorship specifically, that's what Eric Voorhees is dead on here, the censorship. I think there may be some people know behind the whole Tornado Cash arrest that happened recently. So this idea of censorship and block lists and white lists could get brought up. Who brought it up? SBF. We were the only people telling you that this is what he was gearing up to do. Told you for 5 weeks it was coming. It's here now. Nobody had a inkling that this was going on unless they watched this channel. So the point is, right now, the censorship idea that he's creating is insane. It literally says, if Alice, or let me phrase this, if Bob has a crypto wallet that is blacklisted or blocklisted as they call it now, and Alice sends money to that address, now her address is blocked too. How many of you guys have ever been on Instagram or Twitter and seen bots or impersonators? How many people have ever followed me and then immediately got 35 impersonators that followed them immediately?
Yeah.
What are these impersonators trying to do? Well, they try to get you to think that I want you to invest with me, which I don't, because I ain't got time to manage your money. You can't pay me enough to manage your money. I'd have to quit everything to manage your money. I don't want to do that. First of all, it's not my job. It's not what I do. Second of all, guys, you can't take shortcuts. You need to manage your own crypto. Big surprise here. Self-sovereignty, responsibility is what crypto is about. But the whole thing is, what if you fell for that old scam one time? What if you sent in $500 to who you thought was me to make investment moves for you? Because, everybody got time for that. What if FTX decides that address, scammer address, should be blocklisted because we can clearly show it's a scammer address? You're an unsuspecting victim. You sent money to that address.
That's scary, man.
You no longer can send crypto. All the crypto you have, by the way, the money that you lost is gone, right? You don't get it anymore. Also, the crypto in your wallet at that point is now worth nothing because you can't cash it out through an exchange. You would have to trick someone peer-to-peer to accept that, which a lot of people try to do. And once again, that continues the web of all these blocked addresses. This is why a lot of people will tell you, privacy coin people will tell you, Bitcoin is non-fungible. Every Bitcoin does not spend the same. If Bitcoin is on a block list, you can't spend it.
Well, Ben, we saw this with Tornado Cash, with when people just started airdropping money that was in celebrities' addresses.
Yeah.
Yep, they did it to Wendy, and the address they sent to Wendy was the one that she collected donations for her boxing gym. So now, because they randomly sent her Tornado Cash, or Ethereum that ran through Tornado Cash,
Yeah.
like now that those donations are no good.
That's scary, man.
Do you think there's a
That's
world?
what SBF wants.
Do you think there's a world where you can have sanctions on crypto and have a solution, or do you think that just doesn't exist?
I'm a code
Because U.S. ain't gonna stop sanctioning. That's just so that we're gonna live with that forever, right?
Well, here's the thing about it. You know, the United States has very little ability to sanction Bitcoin addresses. The exchanges have to play along. The exchanges have to be complicit in saying, yes, by the way, we agree with you and we will not let people cash out this crypto on our exchange. That's what they have to do. That's what the Canadian exchanges did with the whole Justin Trudeau stuff in the trucker donations. Like, you can't actually stop people from taking Bitcoin as a donation. Or on the back end, you can say, we line up with the government and we're going to do whatever they say, and we don't care about you as users or owners of a self-sovereign crypto. We're just going to determine for you it's no good. You can't cash it out. So that's the that's the danger of the system. This blocklist and whitelist issue is a major, major, major red flag. The fact that SBF used the Tornado Cash debacle, which, look, I'm not accusing SBF of being behind that push to arrest people using Tornado Cash and the developers of it. What I'll also tell you is we know his plan is a federal bit license. We know if you look at the original bit license in New York City, there was a thing that happened with Mt. Gox. They used that to exploit the feeling of discomfort and the lack of security people felt after that to push their legislation. We have the catalyst with the Tornado Cash thing now to be able to suddenly all of a sudden he just come out with all these ideas on whitelists and blocklists. You fast forward 3.5 weeks later, and then he's able to tie all that together and why he thinks not only are they important, but why we should all work together to make sure that we can censor them. Friggin' devil. You gotta be kidding me. Like, you know, no, Sam, I don't care that much about you. You know, you flatter yourself. No, I care about our country and I care about the future of crypto and I care about the individual person watching this channel and their concerns about what's going forward if we allow you to be able to make all the rules. So that's what I'm concerned about. And yeah, I am obsessed with that if people haven't figured it out at this point. So that is scary stuff. And, you know, the fact that this guy in this article, by the way, says that your crypto Twitter is not important, its politicians are important. Yeah, do you not see how important what we did this last week was?
Right.
We got this man to walk back the language. We were not the only, Eric Voorhees definitely played a role in it as well. There are a lot of people speaking out against it. That was incredible. We changed the future of crypto last week.
100%.
And so you have to understand, yes, crypto YouTube is where the education in crypto lives. Which, by the way, make sure if you're into education, check out Catching Up to Crypto on Amazon. It'll be out January 11th. Our book, Fill in the Gap Between What You Need to Know and What You Need to Know how to operate in crypto. Fills that gap between beginner and baseline person that understands crypto. Crypto YouTube is where the education lies. The crypto culture is on crypto Twitter. So it does play a massive role in the space. And to downplay that and just make it sound like, well, why do you think SBF put it out on Twitter first? Why do you think his language on Twitter was different than the actual language backing his manifesto?
I wonder why. Prod by Woody, perfect segue. So the fact that ADA isn't on FTX already is weird. Well, guess what? We have some news regarding that. As Sam Bankman-Fried hints at a Cardano listing. The FTX founder asked those who think he is lying to place a bet on whether FTX would list spot ADA within the next 3 months. Spot trading. Now, scrolling down here. Bankman-Fried stated that the exchange had not intentionally avoided listing ADA. According to him, the exchange had not listed the token because it was easier to list tokens on the blockchains it already supports, BS, citing ERC20 tokens as an example. Is it me or is it just a crock of crap?
That is
like
unbelievably intellectually dishonest.
Who is going to buy that?
Yeah. Guys, here's the thing when it comes to SBF here. And we painted a beautiful picture for you to see. If you watch everything that's happened over the last week, SBF, whether it's with Alameda, whether it's with FTX, or whether it's with Solana, he has a history of using his power, using his financial gain, using his ability to, use that money for lobbying or whatever the case may be. He's shown consistently he's willing to use what he has to stifle competition, whether it's another exchange, whether it's another blockchain, whether it's another VC company. He's shown the ability to do that time after time after time. So I certainly don't think this is any different. Look, Charles has said a lot of bad stuff about SBF and about Solana. Charles' word to me, I don't care about Sam. I mean, maybe not exact words. He's like, he's not really effective at what he does. He doesn't think he'll be able to get this legislation through. And guess what? We proved it. He doesn't know what he's doing. He has no clue what he's doing, or else he would have done this in a much different way, especially armed with the information that we already knew what he was doing before he put it out. So he tried to soften the language a little bit. What do you think he's doing with his Cardano listing? He's trying to soften the language. Oh, guys, look, we're not against Cardano. Now, when we buy Voyager, we're going to liquidate 300 million ADA and force liquidate because it's not on our exchange. So sorry, Cardano, we're going to have to dump your price.
Dang, I never thought of that.
Oh, that's what they're going to do. They already said that's what they're going to do.
That's a good point, man.
Huh.
That's exactly what they're going to do. So now he tried to make it sound like, oh no, hey, the community, it's just because it's a different chain.
Like he couldn't come up with a better excuse.
Yeah.
Like it's easier to list tokens on the same chain. What? You're one of the leaders in the world in centralized exchanges, and you're talking about it's easier to list a coin from the same chain, dude. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, the man who has been called a barista without a beanie, SBF. Hello.
Okay.
You listed ICP. Am I right?
Yeah.
And you listed the futures contracts first, so you could pump the price up and then short it. Guys, who do you think is shorting Cell Token right now to force the price down of that with a massive short?
I wonder why. I wonder who.
I wonder who's doing it. No clue. I think what you'll find is he's involved in a lot more of these things, that we had happen over the last year. A lot of people say, look at the connection between FTX and Luna. Look at the connection between FTX, Three Arrows, Celsius. Obvious connection with BlockFi with Voyager. You're going to see, guys, this tale that we're telling of one man trying to run the entire space is going to become more obvious and more true every single week. And notice, whenever he talks about me, he doesn't ever dispute the actual things that I'm saying. Why? I got screenshots. Like, if I really wanted to come out with those and show all the screenshots, like, I could. They literally took our legislation from us and held it for 3 weeks and said, yeah, we're looking at it. I can show you guys those things. Now, I don't want to because I want to keep the person that's in the middle away from controversy. So if I did show it, I'd have to block his or her or their or themselves name out. So, he knows I have all this stuff. So he knows the stuff that I'm saying is true. He's trying to walk back the narrative to be able to keep from having to address the truth or not. He's like a snake that just keeps changing what it does. And so, yeah, I think this is a lot of concerning stuff. And now he's lying to the Cardano community. He's lying to the ADA, the ADA folks, to make you think that he's on your side when he's going to really freaking liquidate the crap out of ADA as soon as they get all those Voyager assets. Which, by the way, somebody asked me, should I say no to the FTX bailout of Voyager? Like, should I not take the money? No. Look, you gotta know the difference here. You, as a Voyager client or as a Celsius client, and if that happened in a different way, get your money. Get your money. If they buy it, that's great for you. You get like 70 to 72% of your funds back. That's amazing for you. I don't want to downplay that and say, oh, well, it's awful. That's a byproduct of the end game that he has that benefits you as a holder of Voyager. So is it blood money? Yeah, it's blood money, but get your money back. Yeah. So I don't want people to think I'm saying that it's a bad thing for people to get paid back, because it's a good thing. But the way that everything has gone about, is certainly something terrifying.
And Rob talks about this on the show all the time. Anytime we talk about SBF, is the dude's a businessman. He does not care. All he sees is dollar signs. And so, and check this out. I don't know if you heard about this, Ben, but there was a phishing attack on FTX where hackers were able to use APIs for, I forgot the coin's name. And SBF came out and said, we're going to refund people $6 million. Typically, we don't do this, and it's not going to be a habit, but we're going to give people their money back who got exploited. Even though it was their fault, they clicked on email links. So that's just another example of him trying to portray himself as a good guy, right?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this. I know someone very well, a person I've known in crypto for years, who got hit by this hack. And he said, let me tell you, you think I clicked a phishing link? The guy's no dummy. He knows what he's doing. This narrative that it was a phishing link, that's a potential cover-up for what the people that it happened to really believe, which is that this is an internal, someone on the inside of FTX has gone bad, and it's an internal issue. It's not actually an exploit from the outside. Now, I just tell you that's what they're saying.
That makes sense, because why else would he come out and say, oh, we're going to give $6 million back to people?
Oh, you want to know how he did it? Because we pressed them for 48 hours on the fact that they haven't even as much as talked to the people that it happened yet. About the customer support from FTX was abysmal on this. Meanwhile, 3 Commas, the other company involved in this.
That's what it was.
Yeah, 3 Commas. They've actually been extremely helpful in going overboard, even though it wasn't their fault. It was definitely on the FTX side. And so we put pressure on them publicly for 2 days amid this gigantic reputation problem that FTX is now going through, the permanent damage that has been, happened to, supposedly the greatest guy in crypto SBF that only cares about your best interest, blah, blah, blah. That's dead narrative. Nobody thinks that anymore. So they're in the amidst of a gigantic amount of political spin and PR control. And so what did I do? Well, I shared what CZ said, which is, hey, guys, we actually had something similar. This happened to us. And you know what we did? We were able to freeze those funds on the exchange, and we actually gave them all back to the users. The users didn't lose any money. So, of course, SBF, who's too afraid to actually type out the word Binance or to call out CZ without doing it loosely or, in some kind of indirect way. He won't go directly at him because he knows CZ cares about crypto and is good for crypto. Meanwhile, he knows that he's the evil mad scientist, in the space right now. He knows that. And so pushing this message out that Binance paid him back. Hey, you know what else? A little FU to Sam that CZ did as well, is that he just had a tweet that said, just so you guys understand, we're heavily investing in DeFi right now.
That's funny.
Yeah, amazing stuff that's going on. So
I love it.
Yeah, that's my thoughts on that. I'm glad people are getting their money back. That's great. FTX is doing the right thing by doing this. I just hate that you basically have to hold them to a fire to get them to make a right decision. That tells you everything you need to know about the direction of that company.
Proceed with caution. All right, we're gonna end. We can't go on. Well, it's not it's Ben's show, but I know you talk about XRP all the time. And on the 10th anniversary today of Ripple, we have to end the show with some XRP news. SEC asks court to deny the Ripple motion for summary judgment in the XRP lawsuit. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has filed a legal rebuttal to Ripple Labs' motion for summary judgment. Ripple's motion should be denied, this is what the SEC said, because the undisputed evidence shows that defendants engaged in unregistered offers and sales of securities to public investors. Meanwhile, Ripple has also filed a document against the SEC's motion for summary judgment, saying the securities watchdog has no viable legal theory to support its claim that Ripple had to register XRP as a security under the Securities Act of 1933. Ripple's general counsel, Stuart Alderodi, said the SEC has handed over internal documents to Ripple containing comments by former SEC Corporate Finance Division Director William Hinman on cryptocurrencies. So SEC did just hand over the documents, the emails, and now they put in this motion. I know you're thinking, you've talked about this on your show, Q1/Q2 of next year when this thing ends.
Yeah.
Does this change anything for you? Are you surprised with what the SEC is doing? Is anything they do surprise you?
Nothing the SEC does that surprises me. I mean, actually, the fact they handed over those emails did surprise me a little bit.
That fast.
Yeah, because they were not actually required to do so when they did so. So, the whole thing here, which, by the way, if you are in the XRP army, make sure to throw the X up. Wow, you have a much bigger, wider area. Throw the X up. I'm going to go to the club tonight. We're going to Omnia tonight. I'll go to the club.
Let's go.
Big party at Money 2020. Hopefully I'll look back at my time.
Have you ever been?
Have
you ever been to Omnia? They have a giant chandelier that comes down from the. It's a good time. Good
Be
times.
swinging. from
Robin
the
doesn't go for the music
chandelier.
or the ladies. He goes for the chandelier.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, I will tell you that definitely I've been outside Omnia. I was supposed to go there on Halloween of like 2020, and or 2019 it was actually, and I didn't have the right shoes on because I was wearing a Halloween costume because it was on Halloween.
We're doing a Halloween special.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. We're gonna dress up.
up, Boo?
And cool.
I'm excited about that. I'm excited about that. Guys, I don't really like. I would never go to a club if it wasn't a crypto event I was supposed to be at.
Especially in Vegas, man.
But hey, I can.
They get you.
I could cut a rug. You know what I'm saying? I'm no Jeffrey Dahmer. I don't cut it up.
Are you
as much as
bringing
he
the
does.
Are you bringing the jacket?
$50. 50. You want to take some photos? $50. $50. Tell you tomorrow.
That's more
it's
than
not
what
some weird stuff.
That's
It's not
more than
weird
what the ladies charge on the strip. What are they called? The
ladies of the
Jubilee
night.
girls.
The ladies of the night.
Ladies of the
Jubilee
night.
girls.
Well, yeah. Of course, I'm going to wear this at the club. Come on.
It's a
look at my
fan
shoes.
favorite.
Look at my shoes. Can you show?
Can you
Can
get
you
your-
show my? You show, look at my
You are
blueberry shoes.
flexible,
I got to match.
man. Holy crap!
But dang right. look at this. I'm doing yogurts right now.
Damn.
Doing yogurts right now. I'm feeling a little hot.
I would
yogurts
have
right
I would
now.
have ripped the hamstring in half. I would have done that.
Well, speaking of ripping, let's talk about Ripple, like you said. Look, none that they do surprises me, but what I'll say is this is heading to a crescendo. This is heading to a place where we're finally going to get what we want. Guys, we're definitely within a couple quarters of this happening, few quarters of this happening. We're getting towards the end of the downward action of the bear market. Still going to feel like bear market when we're sideways and we bottom. But we're starting to finally get to some of the dates, some of the timelines of the big things we've been expecting in this market for the last year or so. Look, guys, it won't be long. On January 1st of last year, 2021, my kid told me, Dad, did you know you're going to be 40 next year? Son, I'm 38. What do you mean I'm going to be 40 next year? I'm 38. He said, yeah, you'll be 40 next year in October.
Damn.
But you know what? He was looking ahead. He was just saying, hey, I can't wait till I can say next year and make fun of my dad for being old. Thanks, son. All Madden Sports. Check him out on YouTube. But the fact is now, it won't be too long before we can say, we should be looking at the halving next year. Next year we'll get the halving. That's on January 1st we can say that. So you just start seeing these dates. You got to break these bear markets and these slow times up into ways that make sense that you can push through. So big shout out to Sin City Crypto. We're gonna be back here tomorrow doing the same thing. And who knows? I don't know. Maybe I'll do it Wednesday too. I don't know for sure exactly what I'm gonna do.
We're here for you, my friend.
We're here. Studio's open anytime you need it.
Well, I was thinking I'm either taking a red eye on Tuesday night
Nah, you can't do that.
to get back to do the show, and I could just do it here and then
Just
go home
do it
and get a
here,
full
man.
night of sleep.
Just do it here.
I think I might do that.
I think you should.
I'm
I
going
don't know
to
about
get
you, but
home
we
at
had
the time.
a great time.
I love you guys.
I love you too, buddy.
But checks in the mail, right?
Checks is in the mail.
Yeah.
We'll do. Hey,
Hashtag ad.
double side hug. I'll do both of you at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah. Then
That's
you
going
guys,
to end the show on.
yeah, if you guys want more content here, Sin City Crypto will be going live in
40 minutes.
40 minutes from now.
minutes.
So, yeah, check us out.
All right, guys. That's
all I got.
Be blessed. BitBoy out. Sin City Crypto out. In the club. Got my socks.
Ben, real quick, what are your thoughts on barbecue chicken pizza?
Fan is on the
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. And what are your thoughts about my desk?
This nice?
Yeah, I got a hater in our group. He hates this one. Yeah,
Oh, I hate that.
You hate the desk. Jimmy, he hates the desk. Did you hear that, Jimmy? He hates the desk.
No, I would never use that.
We've been getting $100 super chats from Jimmy to buy a new desk.
Yeah, I think you'll find there's much better ways to do desks, including the first world daily desk. This is a great desk.
That is a good desk. Awesome. BitSquad, it's been a pleasure. Thank you guys.